Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to World Human Sciences and Management Conference 2021. This is Rudra Narayan Das, Executive Director, Center for Adivasi Research and Development. We are proud to announce that this conference is conducted along with Indian Institute of Management, Sambalpur, Central University of Odisha, Koraput, and Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. I welcome our speaker for today, Professor Christo, Kaftandjiev, and participants across the globe through Facebook and YouTube Live, and who are here to listen Professor Christo. The broader theme of this conference is agnotological context, disciplinary practices of social sciences, and policy frames. On behalf of CARD, I extend my profound gratitude to Professor Mahadev Jaiswal, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Professor Sarath Kumar Palita, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Odisha, and Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar Naik, Vice Chancellor, Ravenshaw University. The convener of this largest virtual conference, eminent Indian historian, Professor Chandi Prasad Nanda, and eminent policy activist, writer, and philanthropist, Mr. Charudat Panigrahi ji. The main outcome of this conference is to come up with a national and international framework for the education system in future. The crux of this conference will be the use of digital technologies such as artificial intelligence and augmented realities and virtual reality that is being increasingly adopted after the outbreak of COVID-19. We hope this conference would help students, faculties, researchers, and all to expand their mental horizon and help the education system to adopt the best. Dear friends, Center for Adivasi Research and Development is a leading research-oriented institution promoting ethnographic, empirical, and evidence-based research for engaging and addressing the challenges that 21st century globe is facing today. The prime agenda of this institution is to come up with potential policy solutions for change while believing in the idea of 3D debate, dialogue, and discussion, and E3 expertise, experiencing, and education. Uh, the institution focuses on marginalized communities and works for their livelihood to protect the nature, culture, language, and identity in particular. The age of modernity has witnessed that change is the only constant phenomenon for the societal purpose to enhance knowledge. Our information work for them is methodical and avoids paradoxically frameworks which neglected so many centuries from theory to become practice. The center sincerely believes in the concept of social marketing, which is seriously looking for non-profit marketing and builds new social entrepreneurship for check and balance mechanism to glorify generations to come. Center for Adivasi Research and Development come to serve with holistic approach of critical thinking in education to fill the gaps, plan accordingly for the voiceless communities, for beneficiaries, direct in self-reflecting global South societies. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, in this evening we have with us Professor Christo. Professor Christo is a PhD and Dr. Habils on advertising, semiotics, and marketing communication in Faculty of Journalism, Sofia University, Bulgaria. He specialized in Holland, uh, CITO Institute, United Kingdom, Westminster University, and Ireland, Dolphin Institute of Technology. His courses are on general theory of advertising, intellectual aspects of marketing communications, packaging design, merchandising and merchandising communications, digital marketing communications, creativity and advertising communicative strategies for advertising, advertising campaigns, semiotic and advertising, visual communication and advertising, corporate architecture, integrated marketing communications, etc. He lectures, also specialized courses on marketing communications of different products and services, marketing communication of fashion, wines and spirit, books, cars, food, financial services, tourism, telecommunications, B2B marketing communications, etc. All of his courses are prepared in English on multimedia format. They are highly visualized with many of the best world print ads, outdoors, commercials, events, part of films, etc. Some of the reasons for this are that he has extended and weekly updated databases with several thousands of apps, commercial and other marketing communications. Professor Christo is the author of many scientific articles and 9 books on these topics, namely the language of advertising, graphics and text, visual communications, the text of print advertising, harmony in advertising communication, the image of women in advertising, absolute semiotics, sex and violence is in advertising, heroes and beauties in advertising, mythological archetypes in advertising, integrated marketing communications, etc. Professor Christo, in today's session, will deliver his talk on visual aspects of global advertising and other marketing communications against the COVID-19. Now, without taking much time, I would like to invite Professor Christo from Sofia University, Bulgaria, to initiate his talk over his topic. Please, sir.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you very much for all the participants because of the interest for this seminar. And I would like to say that this seminar is exactly on social marketing communications. It is based on the best in advertising and other marketing communication against this virus. So this is one book of mine, and because everybody must stay at home, this stage it's me locked in my apartment with my cat, and this is me on the back cover of the book. This is when I'm watching TV because the news are very frightening. So the goal of this presentation is to analyze the visual aspects of marketing narratives against the coronavirus, because this is marketing narratives, storytelling. If we use this concept, there is some elements of this narratives. So the narrative is a series of events in which the heroes fight against the villains and defeat them. In this case, the main persons are the heroes of the front line, doctors, nurses, and other specialists. The villains are the viruses and the undisciplined citizens. The struggle is deadly, but these tragic narratives will end happily, as in the Hollywood movies. Other important characters in the marketing narratives are the helpers and the beauties, all these positive protagonists and negative characters, antagonists, perform different actions: aggravating, ameliorating, fight, defense, chase, escape, glorifying, transition, etc. The protagonists or the antagonists are successful if they have the magic tools. In this case, the magic tools, this is the vaccines, the drugs, the medical mask, the disinfectants, etc. The marketing narrative take place in certain places and times. The concepts that express time and places is the so-called chronotop. Chronotop from chronos, time, and topos, place. Typical marketing narrative during the COVID crisis. This is the typical. At the beginning, everything is calm and people are happy. However, the villainous coronavirus appears and people get sick. Police medical examinations begin. Authorities began distributing medical masks and other protective equipment. Masks are the typical magical tool in the terms of heroic narratives. People get sick and go to the hospitals. The hero doctors fight desperately and they are very tired. These are the typical aggravating, tragic, negative actions from the standpoint of heroic narratives theory. People are isolated at home. Isolation is not so awful. Therefore, it is an improving action. Finally, the disease is defeated and everyone is happy. This is the typical glorifying action from the standpoint of narratives. So the characters, the persons who act, who behave, the heroes, doctors. For example, in the next advertisement, the visualizers, specialists on communication, they use symmetrical composition to glorify the doctor. Symmetry is a visual strategy that expresses the idea of power and might. So, as you see, this is typical symmetrical composition. Symmetry is one of the signs that this doctor is a hero, or she's a god even. And you see, she is the biggest, and many patients who are smaller, it means that they depend on her. And you see his arms, etc. So she's taking care. Visualizer, the ad persons expresses the idea of chivalry in the next 4 ads or prints. The doctors are as knights. So the lady knight with her helmet. So this is the lady knight, the doctor. This is the helmet. She takes care of the patients. Another knight, shift hero. So you see again symmetrical composition. Another, so the breath with the gloves, the medical tool, the gloves, etc. The knight with the cotton armor, again symmetrical composition. The ad persons depicted the doctors as gods from different religions. Deification is the proof of the exceptional importance of doctors during the coronavirus. So, for example, this doctor is as Buddhist god, one of the most important religion in the world, especially for India. Here the doctor is as a Christian god, very important religion in my country, for example, or in Europe. You see again as a Christian god. Maybe this is more or less China or Japan from the standpoint of their religion. And also maybe this is Indian interpretation of deification. So the doctors are so important that they already have the status of real gods. The next three advertisements show doctors who have overcome their fear. So this is what makes them heroes, because even doctors are frightened because they don't know how to fight against this disease, etc. But now they are confident, they are successful, etc. So, for example, this advertisement, some Nelson, some words of Nelson Mandela, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The excellent thought of Nelson Mandela. So the doctor is brave. She's not no any sense of fear, etc. The courage, also the same quotation of Nelson Mandela. The name of the doctor is Valentine. Also, maybe this is the gratitude of some patient who is not sick anymore because of this very brave person. Again, very happy doctors. So even 4 doctors are so happy that they manage to help their patients. That person depicted the doctors using the style of Far East paintings, maybe Japan. It means that people all over the world interpret the doctors as heroes. So this is the style of Far East. And again, the doctors. Nurses are the same heroes as the doctors. For example, here we see the medical sister, Happy Workers' Day to the heroes of our time. The other specialists from the front line, the cooks, the suppliers, etc., are also heroes as the doctors. And the reason is that they also risk their lives to save us. So typical chef, the cook, essentials, etc. And I would like to use one commercial, but I will ask you if everything is okay when it will start, if you see this commercial well, etc. Because you know this is a big distance between India and my country, that maybe the internet connection is not so good. So we will try with this commercial, and if it will work, we will see also other commercials.
A questo silenzio che protegge le nostre strade e alla vita che grida dai balconi, a chi è fermo ma si muove e a chi dà tutto senza chiedere nulla, a chi è stremato ma ci dà forza per sperare e alla bellezza che non smette mai di ricordarci chi siamo, alla paura che risveglia il coraggio e al sorriso che dà senso a ogni fatica, a chi è stanco ma non molla, a chi è lontano ma sa starci vicino e a chi è spaesato ma si sente ancora un paese, all'Italia che ancora una volta resiste.
Did you watch the commercial? Okay, because I don't know if the commercial was okay. Anyway, the other important person in these marketing narratives are the ordinary people, as you, as me, etc. The ordinary people are also heroes during the coronavirus. Even antisocial behavior could be heroic during the epidemic. The pupils in the next 3 Volvo advertisements are urged not to go to school, and the reason is that they will keep distance and this will help them to stay healthy. For example, be safe, be late for her, and make the first day of school the safest day. This girl will not go to school, she will keep distance, and she will stay safe and healthy. Because of this, she is a hero. But from the standpoint of ordinary behavior, this is antisocial, because in India, in Europe, in other countries, people must be all the time exact, etc. But in the times virus, even antisocial behavior is okay. Another girl, she was a little bit Indian. Also be safe, be late for work. In the third advertisement is the same, so doesn't mean that we must go in school just in time, because this way we will be safe. The ordinary human are also heroic. We are heroes while reading books, sleeping, or practicing yoga. The reason is that during this dangerous time, we are isolated and not in contact with the others. So be a hero, be boring. And you see here a typical hero reading books. This is also typical Hollywood hero, or maybe even typical Bollywood hero. See the mask, etc., but sleeping. So excellent activity to stay at home and not to be contaminated. Also typical hero practicing yoga. That person demonstrated ordinary people who are isolated at home. This makes them heroes, and that is why the visualizers attributed heroic characteristics to them. That person used here the communicative approach of metaphor. Metaphor is stylistic figure by which we attribute characteristics of one thing to another one on the basis of some similarity. And the metaphors are the most used in advertising, and something as 90% of creativity is done by the use of quite ordinary metaphors. So this woman is metaphorized as a Wonder Woman, and she's a hero because she's staying at home. Also, this woman is metaphorized in some way, and she's a hero because she's staying at home. And what kind of hero? Quite an ordinary woman, quite an ordinary meat, but because of the time is difficult, so now this is a very heroic behavior. Also another hero, for example, here she's ordinary girl in an ordinary, maybe Indian, Bulgarian, European, Russian kitchen. But you see, this is the low standpoint. and this standpoint glorifies the person who is depicted, and the light, so she's as a goddess, despite of the very modest environment of the kitchen. Also one hero, quite ordinary behavior, but the boy staying at home. Also the hero with his two sons, ordinary behavior. Gemma help her parents to redecorate and protect, redecorate the house, and the same time protects the world. So she's also a hero. Another hero, as you see, the bicycle at home, etc. Also hero on the balcony, on the roof of the house. So eating some nice food, isolated, and saving the world. This hero, instead to going to Jumulungma, Himalayas, he stayed at home, also practicing mountain trek or even alpinism. Very heroic behavior and helping the world to stay safe and healthy. And this hero also. Ordinary people are heroes because they stay isolated at home. Therefore, they are awarded with many medals and other decorations. So you see this brave girl with this home quotes, but hero many medals. Sometimes the most heroic things we do are the things we don't. We do not go outside, and because of this we are rewarded with the highest state medals. The same thing. So real hero, the posture, the proud in her eyes, etc. Also this ordinary man, but you see as a general. And this hero, a little bit Indian looking, he's also a hero. So if we have hero, positive characters, in this narrative, we must also have the villains. Villains, these malicious creatures who destroy the world, kill us, etc. Real Nazis. So here, in these marketing narratives against the virus, the coronavirus is the very active villain. The artists show it as a huge monster attacking the giant pyramids and other structures. In this case, they use the communicative approach of the hyperbole. Somebody who is specialist in linguistics knows that the hyperbole is the stylistic figure of overestimation, etc. So we magnify some characteristics. Maybe we magnify the size, for example. So here you see the virus is metaphorized as giant meteor, and these meteors, they destroy the world. For example, they are so giant, these viruses, that they can even destroy the huge Egyptian pyramids. So typical hyperbole. Exaggeration. This is the stylistic figure of exaggeration. The act persons also use the communicative approach of hyperbole in another several advertisements. The huge virus attacks the world cities. For example, this is Los Angeles. The Hollywood, these inscriptions show that this is Los Angeles, and the city is destroyed by the giant hyperbolized virus. This is some country in the Middle East, maybe Qatar, etc. So also the same problem. The virus is attacking the giant virus. Maybe you know this is Rome, capital of Italy, and this is one of the most well-known buildings from ancient Rome, the Coliseum. So this huge building is almost destroyed by the virus. Peking, the Forbidden City, it's also destroyed. And also Middle East, is a very famous hotel, which is also destroyed. This is how to kill, how to stop the virus from growing and killing us. Being responsible and staying at home. So you see, the virus is as balloon, which is very huge because of our breath. And when we are outside, so we nourish this virus. Because of this, we must stay at home. I'm not sure, but I think this is an Indian advertisement. So many Indian advertisements I use in this presentation. India is very well developed in the field of marketing and marketing communications. So many of these advertisements are Indian. So another advertisement in the same series. Also, essential part of the narratives are the beauties, very beautiful girls, etc. And they also can help because of the virus. And if they are responsible, the beauties, they are with masks. So you see this very beautiful girl. Also, some physical activities, working at home, even the cat, and also essential part of this narrative scheme are the helpers, people who help us. Many people help the hero doctors. The designer branded a site for donations for the doctors of the front line. So by this site, they gather money for the doctors from the front line, and they branded the site. Branding means that they use some signs, how to say, to make one style for the site. And the main branding sign is the scars from the medical mask on the faces of the exhausted doctors. The scar. So you see the scars on the doctor faces, and here this scar is expressed by the artists to donate. So this is a poster branded with the scars. Glass for water also branded. This is how the branding will look on the screen of the mobile telephone. Some printing materials here and the t-shirt. So excellent branding. If we have persons, this narrative persons must act. So different actions. And one of the main actions is the deteriorating, aggravating actions. When something goes wrong, some problems in this narrative is even the death because we are sick, we cannot be saved because it's too late, etc. So, for example, the lack of distance is one of the main reasons to die. By the way, these 5 advertisements are Indian. Lack of distance, so the virus is very close to the car. Even the virus is at home in a short distance. You see, when we open the door, the virus is already waiting for us. Here, the virus is in the shops when we go shopping. The virus is even on the playground, so he is metaphorized. And for example, the isolation at home is one of the reasons for the domestic violence. And the artist used an original metaphor to express this awful phenomenon. They metaphorize the virus using women who suffer because of the domestic violence. They are beaten, etc. You see, the domestic violence is metaphorized as the virus, and here the women are beaten. And by the way, this is not an advertisement against coronavirus. This advertisement against this violence at home. So the same approach, the same communicative approach. So this three Indian advertisements about the migration workers in India, because they are poor, etc., and they must be helped. And this is especially very important during the crisis. So the objective of the campaign is to urge people to help us, to help these migrant workers back home safely, to go. So this is the first advertisement. The second one, so you see, they are done on the basis of one and the same blueprint. They are walking and we see their foot. A lot of homeless people sleep in the streets, and the next advertisements are to help these people. And the artists working for this social organization, they use the context of stay home. How to stay home if these people, they have not home. So you see, no home. I self-isolate every day in the street. So it's not stay home. I'm used to people staying 6 feet away. So the people when this is over, I will still be here, no home. Some things are even harder. in a crisis, no home, so they cannot stay at home. So here the persons use the context to express their social ideas. For example, we have no place to wash our hands. If there is aggravating actions, also we have improving or ameliorating actions. The authorities always say to us to stay at home, and by the way, so it's not so awful to stay at home. The home can be even a paradise. And this is the very famous statue, maybe Mahatma Gandhi in India. So they used his at home, and because of this, we cannot see the statue. India, stay home. Maybe you know this in Brazil, the statue of Jesus Christ in Rio de Janeiro. So Brazil, stay home. America, the Statue of Liberty, just the same. America, stay home. The medications, if we stay at home, we also keep safe those who love the most, the baby, the pregnant wife, all the elderly members. So the eight persons metaphorize the homes, ascribing to them the characteristic of a pill. So you see, this is the pill. This person is staying at home, so he is safe. This is the same, the pregnant woman is staying at home. Also, everything is metaphorized as a pill. Just the same, the grandfather and the very little child, they are staying at home. And you see, the viruses are outside, but at home they are safe. For example, in the next advertisements, that person used the metonymy to express the idea of the bigger distance during COVID time. Metonymy is the stylistic figure of the total substitution. Here, that persons replace the flags of 3 countries with dominoes. So this is the flag of Italy, and it is replaced by domino. But you see, the colors of the flag are in a very big distance, so they will not fall down because of the distance. If one of them will fall, the other will stay safe. A little space makes your country safer. By the way, this advertisement created by United Nations organization, another country, another day will be safe, and maybe this is the flag of France, blue, white, red. In the next advertisement, that persons use the metaphor. The metaphor is the stylistic figure of the partial substitution. That persons attributed to the home furniture the characteristic of the car seats. By this, they express the idea that it's better to stay at home and not to use the cars during the COVID. So you see, they metaphorize the sofa as a car furniture. Staying home with your family will save your life. If we are not in the car, outside. This is the idea. So also the home furniture is metaphorized as a car seat. Enjoying the comfort of your home will save your life. And in the next threads, also the main stylistic figure is the metaphor. The artists replace the windows with three books: Don Quixote, Alice in the Wonderland, and The Little Prince. And the idea is that it's safer and more enjoyable to stay at home and use these books to travel all around this and other mythological worlds. So we are in the paradise, etc. You see, the window is metaphorized as Don Quixote, here fighting against the windmills. This is the white rabbit from the Alice in the Wonderland. This is the Little Prince. Maybe if you read this book, you remember that the prince met one little fox in one of the planets. So it's plenty with very nice things we can do at home. For example, some romantic relationships here. Stay where you are loved. Indian yoga. Stay where it is a peace. Peace, a very Indian concept, by the way. Mahatma Gandhi, etc. Stay where it's a safe mother with child, the father with the child. So some doctors who overcome their fears. So this is obviously positive action. We already analyzed this prints. For example, here, the idea of light is a very positive one, and we can pray, etc. at home during the COVID. So you see, this is the home, the place for the key, and it's plenty with white, and we are praying, etc. By the way, this is also Indian advertisement. And glorification function. Glorification as everything is already okay, the virus is defeated, we are all happy. This is the happy end in the Bollywood and the Hollywood films. So, for example, this is the virus, these are the doctors, and the happy end, the virus is isolated, so the doctors are the winners. The magic means, so for example, this is a magic mean, the medical masks. So if we wear medical masks, we are not an ordinary peoples, but we are real heroes. Be a warrior with medical mask. It will help. Also some night, be a warrior. The third night, also the visuals interpret ordinary people as famous Hollywood heroes. The reason is that the ordinary people with masks save people, as in the Hollywood films. For example, the Wonder Woman is wearing masks. This hero is also wearing mask. Batman, this Superman. Batman is also with mask. This the Speedman is also with mask. The Green Knight is also with mask. Also, you see a very nice behavior. Back to normal is up to you. For example, working on the computer, wearing mask, wear mask, etc. So back to the normal is to be with mask, because the mask is the magic mean. This is the metaphorized mask. So the cup of the coffee is interpreted as a mask. And the books are our best friends, and they are also metaphorized as masks, because we are at home and we are reading books, and it is very nice. See, and there is some very nice quotation here from Bernard Shaw, for example, which are excellent for the context of the virus. And you see, this book is as a mask, also as a mask. Intertextuality is a very interesting concept and also a community strategy. It is when we create our new text on the basis of already created discourses, other texts. So this Ukrainian advertisement to wear mask, the magic tools, but this is a very famous painting of Leonardo da Vinci, the woman with the helmet, also Jesus Christ with a mask, the very famous painting of Leonardo da Vinci, the Last Supper, and you see Jesus Christ is not only with mask, but without his 12 apostles, because he is isolated. This is one of the Michelangelo fresco in the 16th chapel in Rome, in Vatican. So you see giving the disinfectant. So this another important painting, also wearing a mask, a Renaissance painting, wearing gloves, magic tools, washing the hand. This is Raphael painting. This is American painting from 18th century. Even in these American times, they have a debit or credit cards. Also, they wear gloves, and this is a very famous painting of René Magritte. René Magritte is Belgian surrealist, the beginning of the 12th century, and here usually there's a green apple, but this green apple is replaced with the mask intertextuality. The metaphor and the advertising appeals of pleasure. So you see, the mask is metaphorized as some very nice behavior, happiness. It's your choice, because if we are with mask, we will save our children and to enjoy life. So the mask will help us. And even some weapons are magic means, magic tools. This undisciplined citizen is arrested by police because he is not vaccinated, etc. You see the magic tool, and they're going to the prison. Chronotop is the idea of time and place and time and one the same. This is concept is created by Mikhail Bakhtin. This is a very famous Russian professor of literature. And all of the action, marketing, and the other narratives take place in some specific chronotops, in some specific places, and in some specific time. So, for example, you see the deserted chronotops. This is the postcard, and here it must be plenty with tourists, but nobody, because this is the coronavirus. So the chronotop is empty. Just the same, it is in Milan, it is Venice, it is Fontano di Trevi, Rome, somewhere in the mountain. This is Milano, the famous cathedral, Coliseum of Roma. This is Piazza Navone, very famous place in Rome, also empty. So the chronotops are very specific during the crisis. This is Venice, the central place, and some ski resort in Italy, Campina. So also this is very interesting architectural metaphor, because we are isolated at home, our homes become our world. So you see here the apartment, but if you look attentively, you will see that this is the restaurant, this is the laundry, etc. So it's not, how to say, the apartment, but this is the whole world. It is the restaurant because this is the kitchen or the living room where we are eating. This is the laundry because here our washing machine, etc. So just the same thing, your new world. So 1 hour. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have some questions, I can answer, or the organizers can give to you my email address to answer by emails. So it's only up to you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir, for your. Sorry. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful deliveration. What speaks about the advertisement and all the impact on pandemic and marketing policies, what adopted by these big players as concerned. And you rightly mentioned, but sir, it would be great if some of your videos should be in playing mode. What you talked about the visual presentation, but I might be wrong. Your video is not playing. So many of our audiences, they're a little bit confused about what you talked about. The visual communication is concerned, and then the important aspect of advertisement you rightly mentioned about how the market policy and in terms of the political economy of advertisement. I would like to know some brief related to the political economy of advertisement in relation of the advertisement of history. How you relate these stories, the particular in the crisis of pandemic?
If you understood you well, this is the marketing policies. By the way, many of these advertisements, they're Indian. I especially was searching, and in my opinion, there is no any differences in the marketing policies of, not marketing, but let's say policies with about the health, etc., in the different countries. For example, I showed these presentations to my students in Bulgaria, in 3 universities in Russia, because I'm professor also in Russia, and in 2 universities in Italy. And for all of them, for example, these Indian advertisements, they said they're absolutely okay. The situation in India, looking to this advertisement, is just the same as the situation in Italy, Bulgaria, or Russia. So I think that these advertisements are very efficient. For example, despite of the fact that many of them are created in India. So maybe in India, the situation is just the same as in my country regarding the advertisements.
Sir, how do you feeling when the pandemic called the entire nation in Bulgaria? And what is your perceptions towards your Bulgaria's policy in terms of to manage the crisis? Do you believe the advertisement agency and your marketing policy of your state particular where you're living in, is it sufficient to manage the crisis or something difficult to manage over the marketing policy and what you call it, the advertisement of save the crisis of corona or COVID-19?
You see, it's not only the advertisements, it is plenty with another communications. For example, some of these advertisements are from the beginning of the crisis. Now the situation is a little bit different, but they are not enough to stop the crisis, to educate the people, but it's only, this is also some of the endeavor which can help, but it's not only the advertisements, it is also journalistic communication, PR, even Bollywood, the Indian film industry can produce some films to help Hollywood. Advertising is only one tool of this complex communication. But because I have no time to show everything, so I restricted this presentation only to advertising, but it's not enough, definitely.
Okay.
If I understood your question.
It's okay, sir. Fine. Then I would like to more about your writings. When you wrote numbers of articles and 9 books you have been written in terms of language of English, and your specialization is advertisement, and I was a student of communication. So communication and advertisement both are very coining, right in the right path to direction the communication process as well concerned. So tell me brief about something more, the reverse visualization. The reverse visualization means the narration particular in the time of 21st century's arena, when numbers of news channels are now, they purchasing the idea and sell their ideas in terms of news, quote unquote news. Rather they promoting advertisement in the sense of just increasing their revenue. What is your assumption and what is your suggestions about all? Do you believe advertisement is very essential to run a media house?
One marketing communication, the revenues. For example, now social nets, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, etc. They are very important. And by the way, some of these advertisements, they are also using these new medias. So the revenues, advertising helps, but it's not only advertising, plenty of other marketing communication, PR, sales promotion communications, communications of direct marketing, retail communication, and every one of these communication is also used in the fight against the virus. And I show here in this presentation only a small part of these advertisements because of the lack of time. By the way, I developed one big seminar, something as 30 hours, only on marketing and other communications against coronavirus. And by the way, it is plenty with video, but unfortunately, because it's a big distance between the wonderful India and my country, and the internet is not very good, we cannot, for example, show the commercials, which are excellent and very efficient, because it is a music, etc. But we are restricted by the possibilities of internet connections, unfortunately. So if you have some other questions.
Sir, what is your assumptions and what is your hypothesis related to these new digital tools as concerned, related to the new marketing policy as concerned, and these new tools of digitalization related to the new media is concerned, about quote unquote social media? this Facebook, Twitter, hashtag, and this Twitter. Now, do you believe this political economy sensitized through these youth icons by all over the world? Or do you believe, no, that is not considerable because the stake still pending in the television or print media?
Okay, the social nets are also very dangerous because they are not controlled by the government. So I think that all the governments now they're enough adequate. Indian government, Bulgarian, Italian, Russian, American, etc. So they have the right policy against the coronavirus, but the social nets they are not controlled by them, and it is plenty with anti-vaxxers, etc. And this is another topic. For example, the communication of anti-vaxxers, how we can fight against it. For example, me, I'm also very positive about the vaccines. I'm vaccinated, and because I'm vaccinated, I'm lecturing all over Europe, in Russia, etc. I'm not sick, but how to say, the social nets are in some respect very dangerous, and maybe your wonderful university institute, maybe you must organize another conference just about the social nets and the coronavirus, where we can discuss in details all of these negative tendencies, anti-vaxxers, etc.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful deliberation and all the way joining with us from Bulgaria. Now, I would like to request Dr. Shravan Bag to go for a quick remark and as well the vote of thanks. Dr. Shravan Bag.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, very good evening to one and all. Well, at the outset, let me to offer, heartfelt thanks to Professor Christo for accepting our invitation and delivering one of the very enlightening and I must say a very you know thought-provoking deliberation in this global series dialogue that has been organized by CARD in association with several institutions like the IIM Sambalpur, Ravenshaw University, and Central University of Koraput. This has been one of the very unique effort of CARD to unfold certain needs and also bring development at the center of all policy making decisions without negating the basic right of a common citizen. And what best could have been done when professor like Histro, having such a vast experience, joins the platforms and delivers such a wonderful deliberation. Thank you so much, Professor, for unfolding the different dimensions of the topic. You have rightly pointed out that media has always been a very powerful tool in terms of bringing development at the center of any agenda, and particularly when we talk about the role of media in 21st century, and given the fact that we all were struggling with a very unprecedented pandemic situation over the last 2 years, the role of media has really increased a lot, not only to control uh, in one or other form, but also to make people sensitized, make people aware of, and you know uh, creating a sense of positive vibes and positive approach and attitude among people. And in this uh, context, the role of media in the coming days is definitely going to be one of the very key aspect of the entire process, as you have said. And that's why media, not only by its letter but also in spirit and by action, they have to own their responsibility and to uh, you know uh, present the things in an ethical manner, and I must say in an actual manner. So your talk has touched various dimensions of this particular aspect, unfolding the visual aspects of global advertising and other marketing communications against the COVID-19. And Professor Histo, you have, in your deliberation, you have touched upon the hearts of millions of Indians when you said the basic and I must say the global principle of Mahatma Gandhi and many other leaders, how they have, changed and given a new shape to the entire media via their different, principle of non-violence and principle of cooperation and so on and so forth. So thank you so much, Professor Christo, for accepting our invitation and enlightening all of us and giving us a very good food for thought, and also making us aware of how media can play a tremendous role and how media can be a powerful tool as well in not only making people aware, but also taking the process ahead. And your during your lecture, I personally felt very enlightened when you touched upon the various your personal experience and the different facts that you have narrated. So thank you so much once again, Professor Histo, for accepting our invitation and also making all of us enlightened. So uh, I must take this opportunity also to offer uh, not only a vote of thanks but also our heartful thanks to all our partnering and you know uh, partnering institutions and our advisors and mentors, right from the Indian Institute of Management Sambalpur, Central University of Koraput, and Ravenshaw University Cuttack, for their instrumental support in taking this global dialogue series ahead right from the day one. And we would definitely be thankful to all our participants who have joined us all the way from different parts of the globe by different social media. They have been continuously with us right from the day one, and they are participating like anything by giving their constructive feedback, by suggesting different themes, and also putting very relevant and contextual questions to take the entire discourse to a greater level. I hope and I expect, Professor Histo, you will also continue with us in this journey of global dialogue in the days to come. And I must say, Orissa is one of the very, key state as far as the development indicators is concerned, not only in India but also globally. If you look at the different developmental parameters, and there are a lot of things uh, in Orissa, particularly, I must say that we do have our indigenous knowledge right from cultivation to medicinal things, because you will be happy to know that 62% of Odisha's population is tribal, and we do have our own indigenous knowledge, which you know um, can be a torch bearer in the entire developmental sector and development practice. So I wish, and I also would request on behalf of CARD, this is an invitation to you also, sir. Whenever you feel um, the things are getting normal and you are free, you are most welcome to Orissa, and we will be also very much delighted to host you. And CARD will definitely, be delighted and looking forward for your benign presence in the on the soil of Orissa to take this entire discourse to a greater extent. Thank you so much, Professor Histo, for accepting our invitation. Once again, we wish you will continue with us in the days to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Your universities are among the best in the world, and what is even more important, you have university 3,000 years before Christ, when in Europe there was no any education. So can you imagine the level of knowledge in India? And also such a big thinkers as Mahatma Gandhi, for example, the idea of peace, etc. So for every scientist, it's a real paradise to work with the Indian universities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your kind words. We will be definitely very pleased to have your benign presence, and we will host you whenever you feel free. Please come to Orissa and let us explore the different aspects of development in this on the soil of Orissa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and looking forward for future engagement also. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, Dr. Shravan Bhai. Thank you so much.
It's my
Thank you.